Hello students, I am Nidhi Markade. Today we are going to start our new chapter in science, chapter number 8, How do organisms reproduce? So students, before we discuss the mechanisms by which organisms reproduce, let us ask a more basic question. Why do organisms reproduce? After all, reproduction is not necessary to maintain the life of an individual organism, unlike the essential life processes such as nutrition, respiration, or excretion. On the other hand, if an individual organism is going to create more individuals, a lot of its energy will be spent in the process. So, why should an individual organism waste energy on a process? It does not need to stay alive, but in actual, it is very necessary. It would be interesting to discuss the possible answers in the video. Whatever the answer to this question, it is obvious that we notice organisms because they reproduce. If there were to be only one non-reproducing member of a particular kind, it is doubtful that we would have noticed its existence. So it is the large numbers of organisms belonging to a single species that bring them to our notice. How do we know that two different individual organisms belong to the same species? Usually, we say this because they look similar to each other. Thus, reproducing organisms create new individuals that look very much like themselves. So, according to it, the definition of reproduction will be a process by which an organism produces new organism of its own kind is known as reproduction. Reproduction, unlike other life processes, is not necessary to maintain the life of an individual organism. Actually, it involves creation of DNA copy that we will discuss in next topic. Variations formed during reproduction are the basis of their evolution. Then reproduction is linked to the stability of population of these kind of species. So let us discuss this reproduction in details. Now our next topic is, do organisms create exact copies of themselves? Let us discuss. Organisms look similar because their body designs are similar. If body designs are to be similar, the blueprints for these designs should be similar too. Thus, reproduction at its most basic level will involve making copies of blueprints of the body design. Now, in previous class, we have learned that the chromosomes in the nucleus of a cell contain information for inheritance of future features from the parents to the next generation in the form of DNA. It means deoxyribonucleic acid molecules. The DNA in the cell nucleus is the information source for making proteins. If the information is changed, different proteins will be made, and different proteins will eventually lead to altered body designs. Therefore, a basic event in the reproduction is the creation of a DNA copy. Cells use chemical reactions to build copies of their DNA. These creates two copies of the DNA in a reproducing cell, and they will need to be separated from each other. However, keeping one copy of DNA in the original cell and simply pushing the other one out would not work. So, because the copy pushed out would not have any organized cellular structure for maintaining life processes. Therefore, DNA copying is accompanied by the creation of an additional cellular apparatus, and then the DNA copies separate each with its own cellular apparatus. Effectively, a cell divides to give rise to two cells. These two cells are of course similar, but they are likely to be absolutely identical. Do you think so? The answer to this question will depend on how accurately the copying reactions involved occur. No biochemical reaction is absolutely reliable. Therefore, it is only to be expected that the process of copying the DNA will have some variations each time. As a result, the DNA copies generated will be similar but may not be identical to the original. Some of these variations might be so drastic that the new DNA copy cannot work with the cellular apparatus it inherits. Such a newborn cell will simply die. On the other hand, there could still be many other variations in the DNA copies that would not lead to such a drastic outcome. Thus, the surviving cells are similar to but stably different from each other. This inbuilt tendency for variation during reproduction is the basis for evolution, as this we will discuss in the next chapter. So, I hope you understood this topic. As we have just discussed, do organisms create exact copies of themselves or not? On this basis, let us discuss the importance of variation. The population of organisms fill niche in the ecosystem using their ability to reproduce. Now, during reproduction, the consistency of DNA copying is important for the maintenance of the body design. This allows the organisms to use that particular niche or niche, we can say. Thus, the stability of population of species in particular niches are maintained by process of reproduction. There are chances that niches can change due to the reasons beyond the control of organisms. The changes may be in the form of fluctuations in the temperature of the earth, varying water level, meteorite heats, or any other ecological imbalance. Under such conditions, any alteration in the particular kind of niche is surely going to hit the population of reproducing organisms. The affected population may be wiped out due to this. Few individuals of these population with some variations in their DNA may survive. Let us take an example. A population of bacteria living in water with moderate temperature. Because of global warming, the temperature of water may be increased. Many bacteria may die, but few temperature resistant bacteria may survive and grow further. Thus, variation is useful for the survival of species. So, students, I hope you understood the initial or introductory part of this chapter number 8. Thank you for listening this video.